Call the meeting to order, the Raleigh Water Board for January 22nd, 2019. First order of business is just in vote on the policy for non-compliance regarding water meter repairs. I tabled this last meeting because I wanted all three of us here for a policy change.
Yep.
So.
So the issue that I had raised up from last time was that sending out 3 postcards seems to be overkill, and that if they get 2 cards and they haven't responded, then they should get the non-compliance letter. 3 just seems to me to be, it just extends, just pushes out the time period, because the presenting issue is that we don't believe these meters are working, which means that they're reading low or 0, and therefore we're losing money. So time essentially is money, and that we should do whatever we can to shorten the period. Once we realise that the meter is broken, we want to be as expeditious as possible in getting it fixed.
Is the non-compliance letter registered, or is it just letter in the mail?
It's I believe a postcard.
Which was my concern.
Yeah.
Is I think a postcard is not appropriate. Mm-hmm. I know postcards come in the mail and they just gotta get thrown off to the side and not paid attention to. It should be at least a first class letter.
Yeah.
It was my feeling on that.
What says a non-compliance letter? So
after the 3 postcards,
right.
But you've already extended out the period. If you assume a 2-week or a 3-week cycle for each postcard, now you're already into 2 months, plus the non-compliance letter. So I don't see that there's
the postcard is it how frequently the postcards go on?
14 days.
So we send, I mean, it doesn't say how frequently we send the postcard.
No, it doesn't. I don't know how frequently.
Is this new? We've never had.
We don't have one.
Can we copy this from somewhere?
No, Tara had talked to me about it. She sent me an email on what they do. But like you said, we don't know what the increments of the 3 postcards are.
Mm-hmm. So let's make the decision. I mean, there's nothing to stop us from making the decision, right?
Right, because this is new,
so,
a new policy.
So if an appointment request to repair a meter has been requested via first-class mail with no response, 1 letter, no response, send them a non-compliance letter.
And should that be sent registered mail?
Oh, I just want to discuss it.
Yeah.
I'd say 2 postcards, and then a non-compliance letter will be mailed by, just a non-compliance letter, because once they get a door tag, this is going to be disconnected. That'll get their attention.
So how long between each letter?
But
7 days.
This is potentially $100 or $200 bill a month that we're just ignoring. So why wouldn't we shorten the time?
But I just said,
and they know
2 cards, 7 days. That's 2 weeks.
It's all,
and I'll be honest with you, the way we process mail in my house, if I got to it in 2 weeks, I'd be like, oh, geez, is there a second card yet?
right.
We don't do much snail mail. I mean, it piles up and it's mostly crap. There's a half a dozen bills we have to extract. So I'm just trying to be more sensitive to the...
That's why I said it'd be more apt to look at it if it's first-class mail, as opposed to a postcard, which is a lot of ads come that way.
So I would say first-class mail, but I'm not for these multiple...
I think 2.
Yeah. But remember, what somebody's got a bill. The bill, we know the meter's broken, so the bill is 0.
or estimated from previous bills was what usually happens.
Well,
And I don't know how Pan Check does it, but it was always estimated high on something like this and got higher as the months went on.
yeah,
There have been 0 bills that have gone out because they can't read the meter. But then.
They didn't estimate them for previous months?
Then when they would catch that, they would estimate it, do an estimate from the last 3 months. So,
I mean, I see no justification for the extended period. The signal would be you're getting a bill and the meter's not reading. The reading is squirrely. So there's already information flowing to the customer, but basically saying there's something wrong with your meter. We need to come.
Well, the first letter would be, we need to come in and fix your meter.
Right.
The second letter would be
Non-compliant.
your non-compliance.
Right.
That's
okay,
the way I
second
think it
letter
should
non-compliance.
So one postcard and one letter?
be. Well, I'm just saying,
Both.
both being letters.
Oh, yeah, both letters, and that's fine.
So, you give them the 14 days, send the letter out, because you know how long it takes for the mail to get there.
I'm sorry, so from the time of billing, give them,
When you send the letter out, then they have 14 days.
okay,
And you send them non-compliance.
okay. And then 14 days from that, we send them a shut-off notice?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a plan.
So that's already, you're already into 2 months. So that's fine.
Which I understand your point, Bernie. If we were a for-profit company, I'd be like, you get 5 days, I'd be on them. But as a quasi-public utility, well, not quasi, we are a public utility. I think we can't be draconian in our enforcement of what we want to get done. That's unfortunately.
No, but I don't think this is draconian. I mean, we're giving, there's multiple flows of information.
2 14-day time periods.
Yeah,
Which
so that's a month.
is, I think, reasonable. Well,
So when they send that 14-day, after the second notice, they send a letter of shut-off after 14 days. And then what is the shut-off date from that date of the letter? Like, are they gonna give them another 14 days for shut-off, or?
So it's one letter, please respond within 14 days. If not, we'll issue a non-compliance letter. And after that, at the end of that term, if no response from you from 14 days from that period,
Okay,
then we will initiate water shut-off. I don't want to have it exact, just say we'll initiate,
okay,
because, that may prompt a phone call and then some communications.
And the day before you do it, put the notice on the door. Your water will be shut off tomorrow. Please contact the water department.
My big concern is is a snowbird going to get hit with this? That, mail just piles up.
No, the other thing too is sometimes the mail takes forever to get here. I mean, the fire department didn't get their bill last month to the end of the month. So we had to call Pennachuck and get the bill. It finally came. But it was, they want to get in for the bill cycle.
so do you wanna vote on this as amended, or
I think we need to redraft this and.
just
Yeah,
redraft it, okay?
put it on the agenda for next meeting.
And perhaps email it out to us?
Yes.
We'll send any comments that way when we get here.
It'll be done,
Through you, we'll have all had our 2 cents worth.
right.
You do it that way?
Sounds good to me. Old business number 2, I got intake screen stuff.
I got Prospect Hill. Oh, yeah, just put that in with the, if you could. Save that for later. That just got in there by accident. The email.
Oh, yeah.
What we're looking at is the revised proposal from Taylor and Howard. If you remember from the last proposal, they had their the construction and engine engineering costs,
Mhm.
but below it was a paragraph too of some things we should consider, some money we should consider adding just in case we would need it for certain instances. Like one of them was there was a valve that they were planning on using, but we really don't know if it would work or not until we got up to the project and really tried to shut it down. And if it didn't work, then it would be like an extra, I think it was like 10,000 to have a new valve put in so we can complete the project. So what I had them do is just add everything right into the proposal. It might not be spent, hopefully, but just in case, that it would be there.
So you didn't have it up front?
Yeah.
Try and retro and.
Right. It most likely won't need it, but we really won't know up until the day of trying to shut down the water main to complete the projects.
Because this is gonna have to go out to bid anyways, and they're gonna take care of that stuff.
Right.
That's included in here as I'm putting it out to bid. right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do we need to vote on this?
Well,
I
I
propose
guess.
to put it on as a capital expenditure for this year,
Okay.
on town meeting,
Yes, and also,
For this year or next year?
for this budget we're working on right now.
Fiscal 20.
Fiscal 20.
We're in 19 now.
Right.
they were also asking if we want to have them start start some of the process in hopes that we will be doing the project coming next year, or if we should just wait until the project's been approved and we're fully funded for it before we do anything with it.
Well, right now, we don't have any money to pay for any work to be done, so,
Mm-hmm.
I
I mean,
would,
if they wanna work for free.
well,
There was something that they could like begin doing now in hopes that, we would have the money eventually.
right, but that's their agenda, so what's our agenda? Why would you want to accelerate this work?
There was something with the way I think the Conservation Commission meetings were set, that they would have to kind of talk to them and then get put onto their agenda. It would take a few months for that. And that if we started now, we'd be ready basically before July, be ready to say, okay, let's go out to bid and let's start the project now, because it's, FY20. Whereas if we wait till FY20, the project might take a few months to get going. Like we may be starting it in the fall instead of the summer.
So, but is there anything that completing this project is going to impact?
No, not at the moment. In fact, we have other projects we should do before this project. There's at least one gate valve in the main line that needs to be, it's already broken shut, and we need it to work to perform this project. So that project has to happen first before we even begin.
Is that part of this project?
No,
It's something that should be lined up this spring. Get it done.
that's the gate valve replacement.
Down at Havel Street,
Yeah.
which should be on the agenda to be done anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you do this or not, that gate's
Oh, it is.
broken and it needs to be done.
So my suggestion, my recommendation would be to hold on this and make sure that that other work is done.
Sure.
I mean, part of this is just push back on Taylor and Howard. If we get something from them for accelerating, and then that's another issue, but it sounds like this is just filling their book of business.
Yeah.
So, not right now, I'd say.
Yeah, let's wait till we're actually funded for it.
Keep us out of trouble.
Mhm.
But again, you're gonna need to make sure we've got a compelling argument to sell the article, because people can still vote no, and I'm not sure how friendly the audience is gonna be for another $200,000.
Well, I mean, the simple fact is that if there was an emergency there right now, I wouldn't be able to shut the storage tank down. So all of the water would drain out of it, and the town would have no water storage, no pressure.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, we gotta do the right thing.
I hope it never happens. I mean, I'd rather not do this project, but it does happen.
No, I'm not arguing against doing this project or not. We just have to make sure that when we're presenting it, because it's $200,000, that is a compelling case. and
I
it's really a
believe
compelling
we should be
case.
able, we still have enough money left over from the HVAC to transfer out of that article.
Yeah.
I'm sure we do.
So that might be a source
So it's not
funding.
new money, it's reassigned.
It needs to be, we need to reappropriate that money one way or another. I think it
So
should come off the books.
So that's a special. That's a-
It could be either or.
Well, can we use any of that money to fix the HVAC here?
No, because I asked that and it was because it's specific for dehumidification for the plant. The article's
So how
specific.
can we repurpose that money for the?
You could repurpose it and transfer some more money out of that, to an article to finish the HVAC because we were underfunded on that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I think. So we can do that in the tower. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want as long as town meeting votes for it. That money, I'd like to see that article cleaned up and off the books. And put to projects that need to be done.
So that just raises the issue of, we're fine with the humidity in the water treatment.
Yes. Mhm.
Did you insulate the pipes yet?
No.
Are you gonna insulate the pipes?
I should. Well, I don't think I should. I just feel like the insulation will kind of trap the moisture around the pipes, making them rust out faster than they would have if they were just exposed to the air. I think that the better solution would be is just you scrape the pipes down and paint them, like every water department does, what every water treatment facility does on every other yearly basis. Is you just scrape the pipes down and paint them for corrosion control. It's just
This is another article, we have to explain why we're not using it.
I can still, if everyone feels more comfortable, I'd rather steer away from it, but we can still go ahead and insulate all the pipes.
Well, I mean, we went through a summer that was pretty hot and pretty
Very
sticky.
muggy
And so if we've got more data that suggests that this is not a must-do, then I'm willing to go with that.
Minor corrosion on some of the piping in there, as in that we take 4 hours out of the day, we scrape the pipe down a little bit and repaint it, and it's good for a couple more years, which cost us $50 for a gallon of paint.
Then if that's
That
the better
sounds like what we should be
solution,
doing.
if that's the better solution, but it's predicated on what we've seen happen during a very hot, humid period, that would give us a handle on the scope of the issue.
And if you remember, we did walk through the place a couple times as we happened to be up there this summer.
Right. No, I mean, there was clearly moisture, but I mean, the read is what you guys feel is a safety issue.
Some of the water pools up and goes across like where we walk, but we had another fix for that, which is where we just get like pieces of plastic and make kind of a little containment area underneath the filters, which is where most of the water comes from. And just contain the water,
Right.
and we just mop it up and dump it outside every other day.
But the main source causing the problem has been changed,
Yes.
I guess the best way to describe it. So it's not like we were doing this wrongly, it was
So
just
the main source was it was an air
lower.
an air intake unit that was just stuck on hand mode for the entire summer, which was just blowing the hot, humid air right into the building.
Yeah.
And we had the habit of also leaving the garage door open on somewhat nice days. But all that, we, the blower doesn't get turned on, and we try not to open up the door if we can.
So we've discovered how to operationally cure the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the
Without
wall system is
furniture.
it's all plastic pipe, so there is no such thing as.
Anyways, we're getting a little off the subject on this one.
Yes.
So what do we want to do? Do we want to vote to put this on the next town meeting?
Yeah, absolutely, I'm making, so moved.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So
Okay.
you're voting to, I'm sorry, put this,
The
Issue.
Prospect Hill project.
okay,
On the town meeting warrant
okay.
as a capital project.
Can't believe town meeting's going
Seems like we just got over it.
on. I know.
Discuss Taylor Lane off of Withersfield Street. So I found out Rob Gray's been dealing with this.
Kind of. I've been kind of more,
What's the issue? Yeah.
There's a development, proposed development going in on Taylor Lane, which is right off of Weathersfield. It's like the 45 to 60 dwelling development.
It's 45, it's gonna be 45.
Is that that road they've blown in?
Taylor Lane right next to the old Girl Scout.
It's an old driveway. It used to have
Oh,
this house
okay,
up
yeah, I
there.
know what that is.
Right, when you make the 90-degree turn.
Yeah, okay.
I brought up the question about whether or not the water infrastructure in that area could even handle a development like that. And I kind of went back and forth on it, and we were eventually we were like, all right, well, let's take a we'll look at the plans to maybe we'll take the plans and send them to the engineers to see what they think. It turns out there are no plans for the water infrastructure at all. So we've been Bob's been going back and forth with this contractor for a while now, because he's been asking about, is he approved for this project? But it turns out he's never actually designed any, there are no plans for a water system there, so there's nothing to approve.
Don't you have to, doesn't the planning board have to approve a subdivision?
Yes.
Yes, it's in
They
that
wanted us
process
to
now.
approve
Nothing.
the water infrastructure that was going in. But come to find out, there are no plans for it.
So I had attended a couple of these meetings, and the initial, what they were trying to get the planning board to agree to was a yield plan, how many houses they could actually put on this development. And they had done a kind of like a provisional schematic design that was essentially designed to prove that they could support 45 houses.
With wells?
No, just, they could put the 45,
Just the lots.
just the lots. They could fit the lots on. And fitting the lots on, then that implies a certain way in which you lay out the infrastructure, the water infrastructure. And Larry Graham, when he reviewed it, he basically said, well, you're kind of creating two dead ends here on the water structure, which is something that we don't want to do at all.
No.
And so that's where and they still haven't come up with an actual plan for the subdivision.
So how can they move forward if they don't have a plan?
But now they're doing,
That's what we
now
said.
they're about
For me to
to put
approve.
together the plan.
Yeah.
They've now got the yield agreed to, which is 45. And so their next step is to come back, as I understand it, is to come back to the planning board with a plan for the development, a specific plan for the development, including length of roads, because there were issues with the fire department in terms of access and
Fire suppression as well. There's gotta be water infrastructure for that, right?
Right, and that was kind of my concern about
So do we get any say in what they're gonna try and put in there?
absolutely, yeah, it's our system. They can't attach anything to it unless we approve it.
Okay, so,
but I'm not sure at what point we get the say. So that's
Well,
one of the reasons why we're putting it, I think this item is on here, is it's other large-scale developments. It's not clear to me at what point we are formally invited to contribute to this assessment of the development.
Right now, I get sent like all the plans just kind of unofficially, because there's no superintendent. And I do review them. In most cases, it's pretty clear cut, like they're doing a few service lines off of our water main. It's nothing really too, we go over like little basics. But this one's different where it's a 45 house development. Could have gate valves and fire hydrants, and they probably have 1,000 feet of pipe going all the way around.
This is why we need a superintendent,
Oh,
in
yeah.
the worst way.
Well, at the moment, there's
He
nothing
hasn't
to
got
even talk
he hasn't
about.
got time to do this in dealing with the treatment plant and Bob's dealing with all the stuff in the distribution system. We need somebody at the top to be dealing with the contractors and this stuff.
Can I just
Yes.
say something, Rob? So he came in today, he's expecting a letter explaining what we expect from him. He said that we have a 10-inch coming in from Weathersfield Street, another coming in from Newburyport Turnpike. He said that his pressure was 95 to 100 or something, so he's expecting a letter from us saying to the planning board, like, it's all set on this end because there's enough pressure. Ooh, that might be just that piece of it, his pressure piece of it, water pressure piece.
Yeah, this is the problem, because it's not all set, there's nothing to
Okay,
review.
so he comes in almost every day, he calls me at least once a day, so I just wanna know.
He stopped in 2 or 3 times.
It's-
to see
and
about
this-
it, like
yeah.
you said with Bob Gray.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, it sounds like that he kind of wants, I guess, direction in how it should be laid out and everything, and my stance on it is you need to hire an engineer.
Hire an engineer, make a presentation.
Present us with a proposal.
Right.
We'll approve or disapprove.
I mean, yeah, I can't engine,
You're not
design
an
a
engineer,
water
you
system.
don't play one. No.
Right, but we can say, I mean,
There are rules and regulations that he has to follow as far as the type of equipment, type of stuff he's supposed to use, the size, minimum sizes and stuff like that.
well, he needs to
And
hire
then-
professionals to do his work.
Then he has to figure out what his flow needs to be to properly,
Yeah, and I think that's what he's asking us, that's what he wants in the letter.
Right, he wants
That's-
to know.
All of that information is we can't really provide all that information. We can provide some stuff to an engineer about our current infrastructure. That's kind of where
probably the first thing he wants to do is a flow test.
I'm
On that point.
sure the engineer will tell him exactly what needs to be done first.
Yeah. So if you don't do a flow test, you don't know what you have for water then.
You know?
And I don't believe we've done one in that area.
And it's not for us to spend the money doing it. He wants to develop it. That's the part of developing his infrastructure. And you'll get the board backing on that, Rob. Just
Right, I'm not worried about it at all. I said to the release of the plan, as soon as I get some plans, I'll certainly review them. They might be fine.
But you're not gonna review plans until the engineer.
Can't
does
review
flow
plans
test.
if you don't have them.
They don't have them, yeah, they don't exist.
So do we, I mean, it seems to me as though we know that Tater and Howard has the model
They do.
set up. So that, I mean, we can say that, basically tell them that Tater and Howard has a model that would essentially,
go talk to them.
would
They're
tell-
engineers. Or do it all over yourself again. I mean, we treat water, we deliver water. We maintain the infrastructure. We don't build
We don't design water
subdivisions.
systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess, I think it seems to me as though it's perfectly reasonable to kind of give them Tater and Howard's contact information and say, these folks know their system and know what the capacities are. And, but our concern is that there are no dead ends. I mean, I think we need to tell him
Right.
that whatever the design is, you need to figure out a way of not creating dead ends on this development.
I believe that is the concern of the town planner too.
Right. No, that's, I mean, I'm really piggybacking on Larry Graham's statements about how he interpreted the initial preliminary proposals that he saw. But how that's actually done, because they could create a loop that comes from Taylor Lane and then comes down further on the other side of the river, of the stream there. It would be one big loop that comes back onto Weathersfield Street. But that cuts across conservation land, and that makes his life more complicated.
I did briefly talk to Taylor and Howard, and they said that one thing you should at least try to do is that make the development loop around back to itself, which wouldn't be technically a dead end. It would just loop around back to itself. If you really can't like interconnect it with another water main, just loop it around the development right back onto itself.
What's in the back end there? Isn't that that subdivision off of Route 1 by the candy store? Is that what that is?
No, it would be behind like the police department, Smith Lane, like where our monopole is.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out big picture where it is.
It's kind of close to Ipswich Bay Glass, if you look at it from Google Maps. But they would have to work with.
Actually, it butts up to Marion Way.
Yeah. That might not be possible to do that. But it might not be necessary either. Again,
So
the water main could just loop around back on itself.
Well, we're not here to solve their problems.
Exactly.
So,
No, but we do need to be clear about what we want from it, which is no loops, no dead ends.
So that's what the letter.
Dead end should be at a minimum,
figure it out.
minimal
So,
amount.
yeah.
Next.
Okay. Get your response for that? Basically, we need,
You want us to write in the letter?
Yeah.
Would you like us to write in the letter? That is
Yeah.
requested.
What's
He's requesting that we write in the letter.
Stating what?
Well, that's what we're kind of.
What he needs to do. He just wants to know
Yeah.
what we want.
we can't write a letter for a project that we haven't got plans for.
So, the letter
Well, we
would
need him to go
be,
to the engineer.
please submit full engineering drawings for review. Our engineer that we've used is Taylor and Howard. You're welcome to contact them. End of story.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, we're not gonna do his work, we're not gonna solve his problem, you know.
But
If
we
he
do
needs to
want,
come in here and ask questions, he's welcome to make an appointment and come to a meeting.
so, I mean, the first paragraph should be, we want to avoid dead ends.
Right.
Second, we want you to make sure your design essentially meets flow requirements.
Who did we hear about dead ends from?
Can you say that again?
What did we hear about dead ends? Where did we
Because
get
Larry
this?
Graham looked at the provisional schematic layout
Mhm.
to get the yield plan, and he said, if you put this if you turn this yield plan into actually a subdivision plan, then there are going to be dead ends on it because of the way it was laid out.
And it won't be approved by the water department. I mean, that's pretty much bottom line.
Right, so that's, we just say, we
Mhm.
repeat that again, I think, in the letter to him, that we agree with Larry Graham's assessment, we want to avoid.
Dead ends
Dead
are
ends.
unacceptable in a subdivision, that's all. It's very
Okay.
cut and dry. The dead ends are unacceptable. Boom.
And you need to work with technical experts to ensure that the flow rate is sufficient for both fire handling and residential water supply.
Yeah, I'll help you write the letter.
Okay.
And feel free to zip it over if you want.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Next, all set for the next one?
1 sec, sorry.
Discuss water superintendent's job description status.
So I went down to, after the last time, I went down to talk to Debbie and said, so who's got this ball? And she said, well, you got the ball. And I said, I don't have the ball. I gave you the job description. We agreed. She said, yes, the to-do is, it's got to be in our standard format. So I said, well, I'll put it into the standard format. You just need to send me what the standard format is. And that's where
You're still waiting.
I'm still waiting. I think that's,
Sounds familiar.
they're up to their gunnels, so in fairness to them. So that's part A, that's just the pro forma. The thing that's still completely open-ended is they're not, her description was, we don't see a grade, upping the grade level for this position. It's going to have to be on a salary basis because of all we've dropped the requirements for the position to make it, no degrees and all that kind of stuff that's non-material. But they haven't finished resolving the problems they've got with the salary recommendations that they got from the consultants. So all the department heads in town it's all hanging fire at this point. So we've got no new salary schedule at this point. So we can't. I mean, if we go back out with the same grade level with the existing salary schedule, which is basically it's a no-go.
So this
Which
isn't
is
to the
well below
point.
market.
Right, and they know that. I mean, at least my inference from what they're saying is they know that the report that they got back is indicating that there's an sizable increase for the department heads.
Just so I have an understanding, so this is not at the personnel board or the union level, it's still at the personnel board stage, is not rather the,
Well, there's nothing to do with union.
It's
on
Nothing
this
to
one.
do with
nothing to
the
do
union.
with union.
Nothing to do with the union. It's basically to do with, we can move it forward once they send me the template to just update that. But doesn't help us advertise it because it's still, they haven't okayed,
Personnel is not okay.
yes, personnel, and Debbie said we're not going to agree to an increase in the grade level.
Then is she gonna take the job?
I know. They're
I mean,
between a rock
that's
and a
where I'm
hard
getting
place.
the point.
They're waiting to find out what they're struggling to figure out what the new pay schedule is going to be for non-union employees.
So the rest of the town holds our job hostage?
That sounds that way. So we can't fill a position that we did really need. And I think not
Because
to,
the library director and the fire chief and the other non-union, the jobs are all so similar. Do we have to have, some kind of blended rate for those?
so the problem is they're all underpaid.
Well, that's,
It's time that they, well, I don't wanna get into it.
there's nothing we can do about that. My only concern is the water department. They have to manage the rest of the town, but, so basically, I understand that, our position is held hostage until they get the rest of their job done. Bottom line,
Right, I think
right, so
that's,
we're just gonna keep going along with the risk, an unacceptable risk.
yes.
Do we wanna compose a letter to the selectmen?
I think just having this on file is adequate enough, because if we have significant personnel issues, we will then face a crisis. We are one crisis away from a major crisis.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be noted on the DEP sanitary survey this year,
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm. So, and then where our hands are tied, I would want to go to the selectmen and just say, tell us how you're gonna solve this, because we need money to solve it, and...
We have the money to solve it,
We do not.
but they're not allowing us to use it.
Correct. We do have the resources to fund this position.
It's been budgeted to do it.
Mhm. But because of the bureaucracy and the town's decisions, we are not able to mitigate the risk of not having a superintendent. It's now going on over a year.
Just a year.
Yeah.
They advertised the first time, 1st of January.
Yeah, so.
It's been a year. It's
And
been
the market
a
conditions-
year and a half without one.
And
Opening.
the market conditions have dictated that we are woefully inadequate. We've had, no candidates. So we know what the problem is.
Qualified candidates.
Qualified. So,
Has the part-time hours been approved? Has that been approved? I mean,
We're not looking for a part-time.
No, I just
Oh, I
said if
thought-
we could hire like a contractor
Oh,
for a
yeah.
brief amount of time.
I thought we were looking for a part-time, that's part-time superintendent.
No, we had asked if we could do that. It was just, didn't appear to be a viable option because our hands were still tied. And frankly, I have a full-time job that I can't manage the current crisis, as do all of us here.
Well, it's, Chief's mentioned it to me more than once that I spend too much time doing water power and stuff.
We owe Mr. Roderick a debt of gratitude for his letting you do extra. It's not,
So,
we're nowhere.
but I do think we should, as a letter to the selectmen saying, articulating what we see as the dilemma, and push it back, so we need them to move on. So, when's the sanitary survey?
I don't know yet, it will be this
So
year.
we got no response from them,
Most likely,
trying to meet with the personnel board.
This spring?
They refuse to meet with us.
All right, so the letter is, we are anticipating of the sanitary survey from the DEP this spring, and in all likelihood,
No, there's gonna be
There'll be a
staffing
deficiency.
issues.
It'll be a violation.
We know this going into it,
Mhm.
we're talking about it right now.
So let's
Sounds
write the
nice.
letter, say, put the timeline around it, so that we need to move this forward as quickly as possible.
You can if you want, and I'll support it, but I don't see the point. I think, if it comes to the point where they haven't gotten it together and we have the DEP audit finding, then we have something tangible to just hand them and say, no action, and we'll just point it to, town government.
Yeah.
We're precluded from doing what we know needs to be done. We can't do it. And I don't really care about all the mishmash and this and that. This is a very linear situation. We have this, we don't have a supervisor, we have the funds, we have the job description, and we cannot get the compensation to be there. And I know they've got a plethora of problems and issues and situations to deal with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, if we get to the point where there's an action letter, I don't see that making them move either. So.
Well, I mean, we know what's coming, we're anticipating what's coming, and I mean, it seems to me as though they can make a decision relatively quickly. It has kind of serious financial implications for them, but it's going to have financial implications if we don't address it. So it makes more sense to kind of just push this thing forward and get the selectmen to basically require an earlier resolution than just allowing it to drift, which is what's happening. I don't think there's no malintent around it. I just think that they don't know that they've got a conundrum.
Frankly, I think the whole structure is overtaxed. You've got, very few people with the ability to address it, and they're wearing multiple hats, and they're all really great. They know what they're doing. There just ain't enough of them to get it done.
Not enough time in the day.
Yeah, bottom line, that's it. And then that's kind of part and parcel of the problem that we're dealing with. Is the underfunding of the town's, people. The town has grown. It's grown 4 times since I moved here in 30 years. It's 4 times the size, people-wise, and it's still about the same number of people running downtown. Yeah.
Well, just.
And then all the state and federal regulations that have laid in there.
So do we send a letter or not? I guess that's what.
It can't hurt if you want to pursue.
I think that we probably should send a letter, because that way we have it on record that we sent
We
it
know
out.
it, we recognize it, and we've asked for help.
If, asking for this to be expedited, because it's been a year now that we've been trying to find one. Obviously, we can't, because we're just wasting our money putting ads out. Because
So do you want me to draft a note to the Board of Selectmen
if you would, that'd be great.
and then
It'd be nicer than me.
have Kathy circulate it and
Mhm.
then just,
Yeah.
do we need a motion? We should have a motion, I guess.
So
Sure.
moved. To Bernie draft a letter to the selectmen requesting
Second.
expedition.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
At least we're on record. And
Yeah, I'm really frustrated.
All right, this is something that, the next thing is the cameras. We discussed it at the last meeting. We've got a proposal on what it's gonna cost to disconnect the interior cameras, with the exception of the main entrance at both facilities. We just need to vote to do that tonight, if that's what we wanna do. And then I talked to Debbie about the union issues, and I've talked to Ron Keefe, and nobody has an issue as long as they're not in the break room and the workstations.
Well, my only question is, yeah, I completely agree with that, but more from a workers' comp standpoint, I don't know if we have a camera looking at the truck bays, do we want that? And that's more, I'm thinking of protection for someone who gets hit by a pipe or backed into it by a truck or falls and hurts them. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, there's some big stuff that can hurt you. Do we want to have a camera out there, or would that make the working?
The way we did it at the fire station is the new station has exterior cameras and main lobby.
That's it?
That's
Nothing
it.
in the truck bays?
Nope.
Okay, then, yeah, I'm just asking for, just saying, is that
The
something?
police have them inside at the lockup areas and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
that's
for
protected.
various reasons, but.
Yeah, no, as you stated then, I'd be fine with, just,
So, and the funding for this is coming from residuals or some additional?
we had money put aside for it.
I don't know if there's any money left in the budget.
Don't we have a budget page on your? No, on Mark's, in front of Mark's,
I got the fee rates,
okay.
water rates,
I can go on Bridges, Roman.
but, we'll have to work on, if there isn't any money left in the budget to do this, then we'll just have to come out of the regular budget.
What would we think of that?
Water treatment plant equipment?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So the cameras just here, or do we have them here and the plant?
And-
they're at the plant, yeah,
Okay.
they're all installed.
I don't know. And we've kept them hot, just not recording.
They just gotta come in and disconnect and fire up the recording device.
Yeah, can we sell the other ones off? We're not gonna use?
Yeah, what was the suggestion was to just, maybe at some point install them in other locations,
Who else?
something like that, yeah. Or it's certainly be another project, though, it's not that easy to just put a camera anywhere you want. But yeah, it's a suggestion, anyways. Try to reuse them.
This is just one of those things that have been sitting here, and we need to start
So
cleaning up some
I
of these
make
things.
I make a motion to move forward to activate cameras, external cameras and
The main lobby of each building.
the security, and the main lobby for security purposes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. So,
So could you send a note to Debbie saying that we voted to do that
Yes,
for me?
yep,
does anybody need to sign this?
yes, please. Mark, I think you have the,
Just Mark or all of us?
all of you, but Mark, you have the,
Sign the copy?
Either we can all sign it,
We
or...
should have multiple copies.
well, you do have copies, I thought you only had to sign one copy.
Oh, okay, so there are multiple copies.
I just gave you copies to read.
So last
Would you like
page
to
it
sign
needs to
one?
be signed. We can sign, you can either vote to have me sign it, or you can all three of us sign, whichever you wanna do.
I make a motion to have Mark sign for us.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that should be fine, Mark.
Here's some more.
There's two copies, one for them, one for us.
Some-
You wanna sign your copy too, or?
Yeah,
No, you'll sign it. Just
Go
extra
to
copy.
focus.
Extra copy.
So we have 3 copies signed.
Yes, that's,
Here you go, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number 6. Discuss 385 Weathersfield Street.
Yeah, 385 Weathersfield was, the gentleman came in last meeting, was
Mhm.
discussing the water coming out of the ground in front of his property, near his property. I did have that leak surveyed, and we were unable to hear any leaks in that area. However, though, I am picking up I was able to pick up a really strong residual of orthophosphate coming out of the water at that location. Orthophosphate is what we use in our drinking water for treatment. It actually matched pretty much exactly what the same level of orthophosphate was coming out of a nearby fire hydrant, which is, coming straight out of our drinking water, as what was coming out of the grounds in that area. And just to be sure, I did 2 different tests on days apart, and I got similar results. I also went down the road just to be sure, because I don't know if the chemical reagents that I'm using to actually perform the analysis, I don't know if it was would have been reacting with just the ground matter in some way. I don't know how the reagents are designed. But what I did is I went down the road just to a random puddle and scooped up a sample from that and tested that for phosphate, and I didn't get any reading whatsoever. So it kind of leads me to believe that there may be an issue there. For years now, we haven't heard any leak whatsoever. It keeps getting leak surveyed. We hear nothing. But there actually could be a leak there. And because I'm getting such a strong residual orthophosphate, I feel like that we actually should dig the area up and see what's going on.
Is that where the AC pipe and the duct line come from?
That's probably like 20 yards away. There's a lot. Where that's coming out of is actually a lot that was never developed. And there were records that there was a water service stub in that area for a house that was never built. And then there may be a couple nearby. There has to be a couple nearby. That's how they put the pipes together. That transition pipe is like 20 yards down the road. It could have something to do with that, but
where is 385? Is that?
It's just over the first bridge going from Route 1,
Across the,
Weathersfield Street. Going across the first bridge, it's on the right-hand side.
yeah, the Girl Scout camp crossing the line.
And then in between
Yeah,
there.
there is always water in the road.
Yeah. We've
Always has
been
been.
leak surveying it for years now, about like 10 years. But this was the first year that I've tried to do a orthophosphate test on the water to see what I came up with. We've always done chlorine residual tests because there would be chlorine in the town drinking water.
But it could be dissipated.
Well, yeah,
Coming up to
the
the ground.
problem with doing a chlorine residual test is that, first of all, the chlorine residuals are now really low in the distribution system, which is good. I mean, you just want to trace them out, and you want, to be drinking chlorine. But the problem is that by the time the water surfaced to the ground, that it was the chlorine would be eaten up, and you wouldn't
Yeah,
detect it.
exactly.
And you'd kind of be led into thinking that it wasn't town water because you're not getting chlorine residual. The orthophosphate lingers for quite a while. It's what it's supposed to do.
It does. It's designed to adhere to the pipes. So,
Yes, and again, I was getting interesting results, that's for sure. It almost identically matched up with the fire hydrant nearby.
So, seems to me as though the first thing to do is to let the guy know that he's not delusional and that we're paying attention and that we do a different test and we have to investigate further. It does look as though there may be a leak.
Might be. I honestly believe it's worth, as much as I don't want to have anything to do with it right now. It'd be worth digging up the area and actually digging down to the pipe, which we try to avoid that at all costs. I've been in plenty of other situations where they wanted us to just dig the water main up, and it just wasn't a leak, and we just caused more problems than it solved. And it costs, $5,000 to dig up a water main,
But is there a kind of a more sensitive leak detection system or technology that might
He's
be?
using the best. It's just quiet. If it really is leaking, then it's just quiet. At this point, I've been pretty convinced that it's not a service line leak because we just haven't been able to hear it. But the amount of phosphate that I'm detecting there it's identical to what is in our treated water.
Yeah.
And I got the same results twice in two different occasions.
So that's clear. So have you talked it over with the leak detection guy and
A little bit.
said what the problem is?
I told him about the residuals and stuff, and he just came back to me like, "Hey, listen, it's possible that it can leak, and you just can't hear it. That is possible."
This
is
is a
it clay
big
through
leak.
there?
This is a big leak. This is not a.
It's built up, anyways. I mean,
is it clay through there?
I would assume so.
So that's pretty dense.
Not right in that spot. There's been previous digs there years ago.
But what I'm saying is it's pretty dense, so you might not get the sounding up through as
Yeah.
easily.
So if we're gonna dig, is that something we have to vote or instruct you to do, or is this, can you do it when you get some time, or do you wanna?
Well, we don't want to do it this time of year anyway. Right?
No, I don't want to do it right now.
No.
You probably got 2 feet of frost around at least.
It'd be nice if you guys voted on it. Just tell me to do it or not,
Well, not now, but when's the right time to do it? Besides not having the time to do it.
The frost is out
Is
the
it
ground.
Definitely,
April, May, or?
I mean, I would like to, if it really is leaking, I'd like to see it sooner than later, because, now that it's, even though it is cold out, that's where the issue comes from, is that now that it's cold out, that it's like a real issue with ice. I would kind of like to, I would say the best way to go about it is to just pay close attention to the weather and just try to predict, within a week or so what a decent day would be. It's not gonna be fun, but that's besides the point.
You're gonna be jacked.
As long as it's not, as long as it's not like negative 10 degrees out. If
Yeah.
it's like a 30-degree day, that's
So
fine.
just say, as soon as
I
it's-
say use his best judgment.
Yeah, so as soon as it's in the 40s, consistently for several days, so March-ish or what? Yeah, so I'll make a motion that pursuant to Rob's judgment, that you do the dig up there to investigate the problem.
Do what he feels needs to be done. When it needs to be done.
Yeah, second.
All those in favor? Aye.
They okay with that? Okay with that?
I don't want to be digging it, but
So
it's
when it's
part
minus
of the
10,
job.
you don't do it, but when it's,
Well, but you've also done a good detective job and figured out.
you really
Like,
trace that to ground.
and again, we could get down there and realize that it really like isn't, it's just not a leak at all, and we just, wasted another.
It could be a
couple
spring
thousand.
coming from
Well,
the
we
creek.
could get down there and find that, yeah, indeed, there was a little tiny, something we can.
But orthophosphate is not something that you're gonna just get naturally out of the ground, I wouldn't
Well,
believe.
I didn't know, because it's kind of a, I'm not an actual scientist or anything, but,
Mhm.
but I did go down the road to just get a random sample, it was actually from that, from the farm nearby, and, came up with nothing.
Okay.
So in the letter, we shouldn't promise anything that it's
No,
definitely,
we just say
state the facts that we
we
found.
found some evidence to
Mm.
suggest that it's possibly a leak and that we're gonna
Investigate further.
Yep.
investigate further as conditions allow.
Okay, new business number one.
Good job.
If you guys aren't all caught up on the well redevelopment at Well 3, what they found is after they've taken out the pump and pump column and did the redevelopment, they re-videotaped the well casing. And they found that at the bottom of the well casing, just above where the screen is connected to the well casing at the bottom, they found that the well casing is rotted through, and there's rocks that are about to start falling into the actual well casing, which isn't good, because that's what the screen's there, that's what the whole purpose of the well casing is there for, is that debris and rocks and stuff doesn't get in. As soon as it gets in, it would go into the
It
pump.
goes into the
and
system.
destroy it.
Oh, I know.
We didn't know this until after they did the cleaning, because all the iron manganese is just blocking the view from anything.
Well, that's why we redeveloped the wells and have video, so you can see
Right.
what's going on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so now you see what's going on, what do we do?
So the best way forward is to insert a new well casing and new well screen, using the old, just leaving the old well casing and well screen in place, and just insert a slightly smaller diameter well casing and well screen, just basically abandon the old one. And then you can just, now we'll have them burn you the pump and pump and column, and just slide it right in.
Do they have to replace the bowls and stuff to?
Nope.
They'll fit in?
Yep.
With the casing? Okay.
Everything fits in. It'll be a few more, definitely be a few more weeks. It's not, essentially you just slide in a new well casing in, but it will be a few weeks of them working on it.
So, financing.
Right. So the big issue is we don't have $13,000 left in the article. I think we would have about $7,000 left after it's all said and done. But I believe we want to kind of treat this as a separate issue. Either that or we get money transferred to the
I was
article.
thinking-
I don't know what the best way of going about it is.
Somehow transferring it out of, we have the emergency fund that's built into the budget that has to be voted by us, and I believe the selectmen.
Do we have enough money in emergency?
Oh,
I think we have $100,000 in it.
depending on what that video surveillance thing was, I don't know how much that came out to. But I do have the account for the water treatment plant has sufficient funds in there to pay for something like this. And this technically is water treatment plant equipment.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to just use that line item to pay for this?
I think so.
Yeah.
I would have to double check
the
this
budget
again.
without going to the emergency fund and anything.
I said we could use use that line item for the cameras. I don't know what that price came out to.
It's like $700.
Oh, never mind, yeah. So, yeah, we got
It's less than 1,000.
yeah,
We'll put that in.
80,000 in that account, and I've used about 15 so far. So
So I'll make a motion that we use that fund to to fix well 3,
Mhm.
to complete well 3.
Well, there is another way to go about this, but it's not the right way at all.
No, we want it done right.
Yes, exactly.
I know we talked about this before, we said, bring us the right solution.
Yes.
It's not, no, this is,
So the new information, I think it's new information that I got. I understood that the screen had essentially fallen apart.
Yeah, so I saw the actual video, so I got a clearer understanding of exactly what happened. It's right where the casing meets the screen's actually welded to the casing. That's where they're, what's that?
The casing is actually,
There's about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch holes pitted in like a straight line going across. You can see the rocks are trying to kind of fall into the well itself.
so but this is the casing itself has just started to disintegrate.
Yes, where it meets the screen.
Yeah. So
So they leave the old screen there?
Yep, everything stays in place. Yep, and at this point,
So this
within-
new screen, the cone goes down inside the old cone?
yes. And at this point now, it doesn't matter how much stuff falls through that crack, because now there's a whole new screen and casing to block debris from going in.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be where if you get some rocks in the thing, it just goes into the system and ends up at the bottom of the tank or whatever. Now it has to go through a filtration system, which has to be taken out.
Yeah, I doubt it would make it past the pump rolls.
But still, they're gonna damage the bowls.
so the two screens together, even though one of the screens is essentially fallen apart, that's not a problem.
Correct.
so, I've made the motion.
Second.
Do you want the entire thing out of that?
Yeah. the
Okay,
13.5.
13.5,
13.
57.
Mhm.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. So is that problem with the connection between the screen and the cylinder?
Would you like to see the video?
No, I just want to know whether it's a generalized problem or not, and do we have other locations where the same problem is going to occur? 'Cause
No,
that sounds
and
like
we've this is the very last well. We did well 2 what, a year ago.
And there was nothing
we got
wrong with
all through well 5, so this is the first time.
Didn't we end up putting the new bowls and stuff in well too? As
Yes,
opposed
the
to-
whole the issue there, it actually wasn't dirty whatsoever. It didn't
Yeah,
need to be
didn't
cleaned
need
at
to.
all. It was the pump bowl assembly was cracked all the way up and down it, so they just replaced the pump bowl.
Because we ended up spending the money instead of cleaning it to
Right,
replace.
it was actually a lot
the pump
cheaper
itself.
because it was just. It was
So based on that, and this one, the next time we're doing a redevelopment, I think we put a 15% contingency in.
Oh, sure. Yes.
So that way,
Mhm.
Rob, it's not making it miserable for you to do lots of extra work, that you just come and say, I need to spend the contingency, and we go, boom.
Well, we had some contingency in there, but we had other things that went wrong.
That was pretty close. I mean, that was
Yeah.
under it for a while, but this is the way it was.
So maybe we just do a bigger.
Well, it's just like
contingency
just like the thing at Prospect Hill, there's a 20% contingency in there.
Yeah.
That's probably, they've probably done a lot of research and that's what they figure is.
Especially
Yeah,
looking at that diagram, just the spaghetti diagram, oh jeez,
Oh, yeah.
what a mess.
It has been for,
But it's nice to get it cleaned up. I mean, we started at the top of the tank, getting it coated, doing the road, doing the piping.
yeah.
So we just start at the bottom now. And I think, did we ever fix the telemetry on the pole? It's because I was told that was flaky at one point.
Oh, at the monopole?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues with it
It's
for a while.
working fine, I believe.
Power supply, and it's the major power outages is still can be a concern.
But if we have to, we got the generator, we can go throw up there.
Mm-hmm.
But you lose the power at the top of the hill too, so
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah, those are 2 order issues.
Future,
So
current
this
future operations of the
is a
department.
ceiling, right? This 13.5 is not, it could be coming lower, isn't that what you said?
It would come in exactly that. A little lower. Originally, I said about 15 to 20, because we wanted to, he wanted us just to be prepared for the actual cost of these things. Oh yeah, 13, that should be the actual,
Okay,
exactly what it's coming in at.
all right.
That's his quoted price.
He's actually, they've done the, they do a lot of these, apparently.
All right. So,
Current and future operations of the department, you got anything, Rob?
Yeah, we can't access Prospect Hill at the moment. It's just one big sheet of ice going
Mhm.
straight 45 degree.
I was gonna bring that up on the discussion of capital expenditures, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it's just I was unable to obtain a bacteria sample today because I couldn't access the storage tank. That's an issue, you know. I could, I guess, crawl on my hands and knees by myself to get up there, only to find that the gate's frozen, along with the hatch to the actual vaults. But I'm just not in the mood for doing something like that. I'd be by myself too, because it was just me and Bob Ray today. Bob Ray's certainly not going to.
I need some snowshoes I can let you.
Well, there's no
You gotta have cleats on.
Yeah, they don't go
They
vertical.
got big spikes,
Yeah,
so.
it's an issue.
What, do we need, you know,
At some point, we'd like
a
to get
snowmobile with studs on it?
something with a small utility vehicle to get us up to the top of the hill. And
The town of Newbury has what they call an Argo.
Yeah.
It's a six-wheel vehicle that they put tracks on.
Mhm.
They have it for emergency management.
Mhm.
It goes right up and down the hill because I had John Lucy here last year when the road was like this, to see if it would work.
there wasn't snow on the road though.
Yeah, there was.
I just thought it was just a little icy.
No, it was pretty icy up there.
I would rather see a just a UTV. I'm not a big fan of the Argos, in my opinion.
So
But yes, something to.
I'm just using that as an example. I think it should be researched.
With like a gator with like, you know, studs.
Maybe a gator,
you know,
yeah, it's in.
with like studs on the tires, get you up there?
You get them with tracks.
But something, a tracked vehicle with studded tracks.
But with the tracks, there's just the four, like, they're just like snowmobile tracks, but one for each wheel. At the end of the day, or at the end of the season, you unbolt the tracks just like a
I
tire.
have it. You can use it to get around
the
the
tires
different
back
wells
on.
out through the fields and stuff.
Well, I guess that's my question is, you know, is that something that we could use for more than just getting up and down the
Yep.
hill?
Absolutely.
Well, the other
Yeah,
option
around the
is you could get into it with other departments and you could use it for public safety, going in the woods and saving people's type of thing too.
So if you have the Georgetown Raleigh Forest, get a call.
We've talked about getting one, but we just don't have the funding at the fire department to get one, or the place to keep it.
It would be used all season.
The other thing we looked into is our former superintendent obtained a trailer that would fit one of those type of things very nicely.
We had one.
That's what I said.
Oh.
She obtained a trailer
Yeah.
that we're not using that would
Where's it?
house one.
Yeah.
It's up to the treatment
I
plant.
fit one really nice.
She got it through a grant, and it would house something like that very nicely. We measured it with the Argo, and there wouldn't be anything we got wouldn't be any bigger than the Argo.
Well, the device, I'll call it, like our.
It's a UTV.
I'm not particular. I just happen that that's what I know went up the hill.
But is that something between, like us and the police department and the fire
I
department?
think what Bernie wants to bring up is that
Thirsies?
we should work with the other departments. The only problem I see is that they would in no way pay us rent at any point to use it.
Well, no, my point is, do we go Thursdays on it, and then we'll house it because we got the trailer on space, but, the manager, the fire chief, police chief, water superintendent, de facto, you just use it as you need it, you sign it out, and you're responsible. You're using it, and you're responsible for it. You break it,
Yeah,
you fix it.
it would definitely be offered to any of the other town departments. It's a small utility off-road vehicle that can get you to the monopole, but get the light department up to one of their telephone poles in the middle of winter. You get the police department up to up down the trails in the middle of summer.
Well-
The fire department can
Either way, all 4 departments have radios at the top of the hill, that if they go down, there's no way of getting a radio guy up there right now.
No.
So that's the other approach, which would be to talk to the telecom people about, they've got an issue as well.
Yeah, they've been kind of using that road for years now, and they've never given us a dime for it. And
No, they pay
Well,
rent.
we haven't,
Not to us.
No, they don't. They pay the town rent. They pay rent for that property every year.
We ain't getting a piece of action.
Yeah, but
That's why the
not to
town,
us.
that's why the town's paying to fix the road.
We're paying to fix
No,
the road.
you're not.
The Raleigh Water Department didn't pay to fix that road.
We
No,
contributed
no,
to
I mean,
washout.
this year,
Oh, okay.
the repairs we're doing now, I'm working with Debbie to get that repaired. I just haven't got local contractor to meet up with me yet, and now this is covered with snow, so it's kind of a waste of time.
So how do we pursue, I mean, do we talk to the other department heads and then do we'll buy it and bill them, or does everybody have to do a town meeting?
Well, I don't know, is it
Each
that the
$5,000?
other departments have an extra, I don't even know what this thing's costing, so I don't think.
$27,500.
Is that
All
for
spec.
like a gator or?
It'd be a 2019 Can-Am Commander 800 with track system.
Can we
Enclosed cab, heater, windshield washer,
Could we get
enclosed cab, the roll cage and everything.
where's the dealer?
128, Cycles 128.
Do they have one that they could?
It
Make sure
wouldn't,
go
no,
up the
not
hill?
with the track system, but there's plenty of the Commanders you can, or Defender, it might be the Defender. There's plenty of Can-Am Defenders.
Because I'd like to see it go up the hill before we do anything.
Yeah, this is kind of, the side-by-sides are kind of my hobby in my spare time. I know quite a bit about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely would definitely get up to the top of the hill. Without question, with the track system.
Is that the one you think is best?
Yes.
Is that Can-Am?
Yeah, because it has the cabin, the heated cabin, roll cage, track system. The track system is actually an add-on, and we want that. I don't want a track system built into a machine because then we'd only be able to use it once or twice a year.
No, you want a removable track.
Right. So they do track systems. They bolt on just like a tire. It's just the 4 lug nuts. So you just jack the machine up, unbolt the track, this big or whatever, and then you just put the tire back on for the spring and summertime fall use. Yeah, it's got enough the 12 to 13 inches clearance without the track system. With the track system, it's like 16 inches of clearance, which is why I kind of stay away from the Argos because they just don't have they don't have that much clearance underneath the vehicle to just in case like you get enough snow under there and suddenly the tracks are just slipping around and not doing anything. I'm also looking at the Polaris Ranger 900, which is a similar vehicle, just a different company. Polaris, yeah, the Rangers. But they also have the utility bed in the back, which is the other reason why we get this, because it's useless to just get up there on a machine. You kind of need tools to do whatever you're doing. Now, you may need the generator you may need to haul the generator to wherever.
Well, if you're going to use it for public safety too, you need to be able to put a stretcher in there.
Yeah,
A backboard with somebody on it, type of thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too, about all the off-road stuff with you guys, the fire department's got a 4-wheel drive, like pickup truck.
That's
type
it,
thingy,
yeah.
You know.
But I'd like to see number one, talk to Natalie and see what state bid is on something like that.
Sure.
Because I'm sure the state bids on everything. I mean, I found the Toyota Tacoma on state bid, so, and people didn't think that was on there. But that was with the help of Natalie. She won't be until next week. But,
If we move forward on this, I really want to see it being used by multiple
Agencies of the town.
Yes, absolutely. That's that's part of the trying to sell it to the town and saying.
Well, I guess that's my question, is how do we go about buying a piece of equipment?
What I would do is there's one department that touches all the departments.
Which one's that?
Emergency management.
Where is that?
That's the fire chief is the emergency management director.
Oh, okay.
That's police, fire. That's all. Light towers belong to emergency management. The signboard belongs to emergency management, except for ours. So I think go talk to Jim Broderick about it. I'll talk to him too. I know he's in favor of it because we've talked about it before. He was involved with us having, because I didn't know if something like that would even make it up the hill, so that's why I had John Lucy come over.
So, I mean,
and it was a
even if-
very icy day we went up there.
Even if we just split it between us and the emergency management,
Mhm.
you know, that still cuts the cost in half for both of us.
And he might want to put some additions onto it that we wouldn't want, type of thing. Because there should be some equipment to go with it.
Now we're at 30 grand.
No, but that's,
Yeah, understood.
As soon as I said we were a municipality, they dropped the price by $2,000 right off the
yeah,
bat.
ask him,
What's up?
because I bet you're on state bid. If you get the state bid number, then you don't have to ask them that, you just have to have the state bid. Ask them if it's state, I order radios all the time, state bid. They give me the quote, and the quote on top of, get the quote, and if there's a state bid number on top of the quote, you don't have to go out to bid on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been bid.
Well, it sounds like one thing is obviously just speak with Chief Broderick and then start talking numbers and where he could get numbers as well.
That makes sense, especially trying to get, I don't know who was saying, getting up there and the trucks is tough. So if we get something like that and somebody just haul it over, you're up.
Mm-hmm.
Without
We also have, it's not the only site, because we have this Smith Lane, the monopole by the police department. That's the same thing, where you really can't get a truck out there. Not during the snow.
So would this vehicle have less wear and tear on the roadbed going up there?
Yep. It's only 1,000 pounds. We had 1,200 with all the gear and everything, but it's 60 inches wide, 1,200 pounds.
So we could essentially require the other users of that hill, because, I mean, my concern is
My
that-
concern is they beat the machine to death, because they would,
No,
they
if
would
you're gonna get
find,
one of those,
fun to
there
use.
should be a few assigned drivers,
right,
like a couple guys from the water department, a
Like
couple
me.
guys from the fire department,
I'll drive people around.
and then limit it to that. And that was one thing that John Lucy said when I talked to him about, because they have it through emergency management over there. And he said, whatever you do, you don't want everybody
It
driving.
could easily be, I own a machine, and it's very fun to, it's very tempting to kind of, beat on these machines. Extremely tempting. But that's not what this machine would be for.
Yeah.
Right.
If we were to just hand it out to whoever, it's going for a ride, for sure.
Right, but so let's control that, but the other thing is, I think the four-wheel drives going up that hill are an issue.
Yeah, right.
'Cause
What I saw
it's
from the
very
damage on the road, did I ever show you guys the damage on the road? It's cars with positive traction going up there. Because they're spinning, two rear tires are spinning.
Yeah, no.
That's what I'm finding the Durettes on. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, no, this is-
I took pictures of it. And like I said, Debbie, I talked to Debbie, she actually wants to put a article in for maintenance of the road.
Good.
So, that was the response I got from that. Like I said, I'm waiting for the local contractor to hook up with me to go up and look at it.
Well, it seems like it'd be especially I'm more concerned about the winter. If we have a problem on that hill,
I can't get up there right now. At this moment, I can't get up there.
and if we have a significant failure of something up there, not to say that, oh, you need to have this $30,000 vehicle just in case a valve freezes. Well, yeah,
Well, just because
0-degree weather for 2 weeks, a valve freezes up on the bottom of that tank, we are in tough shape.
where the other departments come in is our radios are on top of the hill, fire department radios on top of the hill, police radios on top of the hill, and the light department's radios on top of the hill.
I'm already in trouble because I need to get a bacteria sample from up there. I need to tell the DB that it's going to have to wait, and they're not going to
So we've had a water department for
like that whatsoever.
60 years.
Mhm.
What did they have to do before?
People locked up on the
Well,
ice.
no, first of all, this is the first year, so last year was the first year that it was required by the Mass DEP that you need a water sample directly from your storage tank. We had the machine shop at the bottom of the hill was our representative site for years, since I've ever been here.
No, it's
It
come
was
out.
just last year, they're like, you have to take a sample from the storage tank.
Yeah, we used to fudge it.
Directly from it.
How
Well,
frequently?
there's from a sample tab,
Yeah, how frequently?
Once a month.
Once a month. So,
which was today.
Mhm.
okay. Well, it's gonna be 50 degrees tomorrow and rain, so maybe
I'm hoping,
a
yeah.
little more passable by Friday.
Yeah. But,
Well,
yeah,
I get
it
up there
was,
somehow,
it's been an issue
Today.
for as long as I can remember, and it's getting worse.
Do we know someone that's got one of these big machines that would be willing to lease it to us
I
on
have
a
a
one-day
small
lease?
one, but it doesn't have the track system.
I know you have it, that's why I'm
If
saying.
if your worst comes to worst, I can call John Lucy and he can give you a ride up there with the Argo.
I don't want the Argo.
Doesn't
I'll
mean you
price it
want
up
it.
and everything.
No, I'm just saying, if you need to get up there, he's more than willing to come help us get up there in an emergency.
I mean, I'd like to see him try. Anyways. Yeah, you can come on.
All right, let's go. I want to go lease.
Yeah.
I'm just dying.
But anyways,
It's all day.
So, anything else?
Nope.
I'll be interested in what you get back on the state bid thing, Ron. And I think that gave
everything's on state bid, so.
I know that machine you talked about sounds all right.
But I'm not set on any particular type, I just
No,
know
I'm
that
gonna
that's
get-
what's available.
Yeah, we're gonna get 10 different quotes.
FY20 budget,
Well, thanks to Rob pulling together his suggested changes, I'm building the spreadsheets now for the budget. We're about 2 weeks ahead of last year. We've got the templates, and so I don't think there'll be an issue. We still have to kind of scrub through a number of the line items just to make sure that we're not leaving any, there's not places where we can reduce based upon what our actuals are so far this year. So it's in process.
capital expenditures, I think we discussed that, a couple of them. The repairs to the infrastructure for the year would be the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know
Capital expenditures?
that our compressor is getting tired.
This went out back, right? Is this money for articles?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that in there actually, about
Okay.
30,000.
Do you have, is there any, I didn't see it.
There's no quote yet, but it's the sounds like just from talking to people. I think Bob actually got some before too. Yeah, for the articles, there's this is just a draft, it's just a kind of more notes than anything. Yeah, about 30,000 for a mobile compressor, which Bob has been working on to find the actual dealers for these compressors.
The compressor was here when I worked here. I don't know how many years before. So I know it's at least 25 years old. It's overdue, and it's,
Yeah, let's put the capital to replace it, because that's the thing that when it dies when we're having a major crisis with the water main break and, not that you can't rent them. but-
Gate valves, I'm still working on gate valves, I'm just trying to come up with a price, like per each, so I can add them all up. Yeah, we're replacing gate valves.
So that's additional items and what you've written down.
what you gotta do, what we gotta do is you gotta figure out,
That's not, it's not complete yet.
how many gates you want fixed.
Mhm.
We'll put it all onto an article and go out to bid to get all those fixed.
Yep.
So, if you get a list and,
I got a list and I was working on just getting all the pricing down because it's useful for other just digs in general, just getting a better understanding of exactly how much money we should have for doing these kind of jobs.
and if we think it's, if it's under this, we can just get quotes, phone quotes. rather than go out the formal bid on. So, in other words, keep the shares down under the.
Yeah.
Anything else on this capital expenditures?
The gate valves at Prospect Hill, we've already discussed that.
Yep. Minutes.
I'm in favor
I
of
think you weren't here that day, Mark, you,
it. Just
That's why we didn't vote on this, I couldn't vote on it.
Can I take a look?
It's just a short,
That was just
2-minute meeting.
important Ryan to the roll call.
So I make a motion to accept the minutes as written, as presented.
Second?
All those in favor, I abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
You got that, Kathy, right?
pardon me?
I abstain.
Yes.
Motion adjourned?
Seconded.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.